Something that always bothered me was that history, science, and religion didn't go together, which they should, because history is what happened in the past. Science should um, back up that history, and the Bible should be backed up by those sciences and history. But history does back up the Bible, except for the millions and billions of years that they try to put in that didn't exist. The dinosaurs did live with human beings and made kind of debatable, but may still in some places live with human beings, or at least some of them. The word dinosaur didn't actually exist until the late 1800s. Before that, they were called dragons. So, the dragons that they were killing in medieval days very well could have been dinosaurs. You listen to all your great explorers, Magellan, Americo Vespucci, um, Columbus, everybody that came over here in the early days has descriptions of dinosaurs running around in this country, and giants, and numerous supposedly mythological creatures like the Bigfoot and Yeti, but you still have people seeing many of these things still today. These things all exist. There is no missing link because there is no evolution. Science fits absolutely with history and Bible if you take out all the lies. Like empathy is an absolute law, but empathy says that every generation gets weaker, which absolutely contradicts the theory of revolution. It's just a theory. When you study things like flat earth, you actually understand that there's no way that we live on a ball. Like Admiral Byrd said that when he went past the South Pole, he found lands that are bigger than America's that had been never been explored by man. Now, if we lived on a ball, he would have found lands that we'd already lived on. But he said these lands were bigger than America that had never been had a man step foot on them. So he found other lands. You see it in like Peter Pan and the Smurfs, where they come from stars and came here. It's not far away galaxies and stuff. There are other lands on top of the firmament. Firmament is the vast dome above the world. You go by their calculations that the world spins at 1,100 miles an hour going from east to west. Now, if you get on an airplane and fly from New York to California, it takes 3 hours. The average plane goes somewhere between 500 to 700 miles an hour. So if you got on a plane in California to go to New York on a straight flight, you would never get there. You'd have to go all the way the other way around to get to New York. But you get on a plane going from California to New York, it takes 3 hours. When I get up on a mountain, I can see 100 miles away. I can go out to the other side of Dover and see Mount Nebo on 50 miles away. Not the top of the mountain, but the bottom of the mountain. And by their standards, for every mile, the curvature of the earth drops off an eighth of a foot or something like that. I wouldn't be able to see the mountain. I can go out to Ola and I can see the nuclear plant. Not just the steam from the nuclear plant, but I can see the nuclear plant. By their calculations, I shouldn't be able to do that. You can go, there's countless studies of people going out to lakes and putting lights land level 100 yards away and being able to see them lights land level. And by their dimensions, we should not be able to do that. No. Maybe more than 100 yards, maybe 100 miles, but regardless, by these dimensions, you can't, they say you can't do these things, and they're done all the time. Don't believe these CGI pictures that they send us, show us, or these films that, like the moon landing that was actually filmed by the same man who filmed Space Odyssey, the original 1969 moon landing. Don't believe this crap that they're putting in, or the fakeries they're putting in. And eventually, I do believe this will all be put out in front of us. We're about to see some stuff that a lot of stuff come out, and there's other stuff they've already told you anyway. I mean, like Pope Francis, which I don't like that word because it means father, and there is no father, but the one is in heaven, our mother and father in heaven, Hawa. But I've heard this man singing praises, "O Jesus, son of Lucifer, that brought the light to blind the world." Why was he singing this stuff if he didn't believe that Jesus was the son of one of the fallen? And it's probably Gargamel, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but which was the name of one of the fallen. If you actually read Matthew, it doesn't say that Hawa entered into her. It says Gabriel entered into her, came into her, mean come into her. So he's not Hawa's son, or most of y'all Christians say God's son. He's a God's son, little g, not big G. But he could be Gabriel's son. By that exact scripture, which means he's not the son of the Most High, but he is a Nephilim. You know, our timeline has been skewed a lot. Once, when the Romans took over, they actually changed the calendar from the original calendar to the Gregorian calendar, which there's actually another name for it, but I'm not actually sure what it is right at the moment. This is known. What isn't well known is that they changed it again. around somewhere between 1000 AD and 1100 AD, they changed it to 1 AD, saying that this was the conception of Christ. Now, if you ever watched the documentary on the Shroud of Christ, the carbon dating shows that the shroud was from somewhere around 1000 AD to 1100 AD, so they say it's a fake. But if 1100 AD was 1 AD, then it really is a shroud of a man that lived at that time. Whether if it's Jesus or Yeshua or whatever his name was supposed to be, it may be debatable, but it could have been that man's shroud. You know, when they first tried to change this to a sun calendar is what they said we go by. Now, a solar year is actually 430 days. They tried to do that. But obviously, 18 months is 430 days. You overlap years a little bit. It's called the edge of confusion. And then they finally decided that as far back as you could go without overlapping the years was 365 days. And you add 5 days a year that way, actually 5 and 4 a fourth days, because every fourth year they add an extra day. But think about the calculations on that. You know, the circumference of a square is 360. The circumference of a circle is 360. And why that is prevalent, because math is always constant. When you go to court and you supposedly get some conviction, they say, the judge says you're going to serve 180 days. 180 days is 6 months. 180 times 2 is 360. So where did the other 5 days come from? Just a thought. But somewhere they're screwing you. Or they're screwing with you, rather. Because math is always constant. You know, they say all geometry is made up of a basic thing of a circle. And then they put the triangles in and all this, and you get the flower of life. Well, I mean, it's all constant. You know, kind of like Nikola Tesla said that there was 3 God numbers. 3, 6, and 9. Because no matter what you do, you do not hit these 3 numbers. Assuming 9 is the top number in numerology. Because 9 is as high as you go before you start back over at 0. Because 10 is 0. Or 1. Regardless of how you look at it. I mean, but what he was talking about is, say 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 4 is 8, 8 plus 8 is 16, can't go higher than 9, so 1 plus 6 is 7, 16 plus 16 is 32, still can't go higher than 9, so 3 plus 2 is 5, 32 plus 32 is 64, well, 6 plus 4 is 10, which equals 1, and you still never hit 3, 6, or 9, no matter how far you go up. you'll always hit 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 1, 2, 4, 9, 7, 5, or 8. You never hit 3, 6, or 9. These are considered out of the perimeter. The ideal that 666 is the number of Satan is absolutely idiotic to a degree, because 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 18, which 1 plus 8 equals 9, is a high number. 9 is number of completion. That's why there's 9 steps on the pyramids in South America. That's why that if you add the numbers 1 through 9 all together, you still end up with number 9. If you take the minutes in a year and add them all together, you end up with 9. You end up take the seconds in a year and add them all together, you end up with 9. Assuming 9 is the highest number. The minutes in a day, or the seconds in a day, you still end up with 9. Or a week, or a month, it all ends up at 9. There's lots of studies on this stuff. I mean, 9 is a absolute number. But 777 being the number of God is ridiculous too. Because 7 plus 7 plus 7 equals 21, which is 3, which is a lower number. It's not a number of completion. Hawa is constant, it's being. So they would be a number of 999. 9 being the highest number, their number is 9. If you're going to put it on a threefold scale, then it would be 999. And 999 still equals 9. You know? Because that equals 27. 2 plus 7 equals 9. You really got to think about this stuff in context, not the lies that they're trying to portray to us. Like I said, really study everything. I mean, I really do hope that this reaches some people, it gets them thinking, and gets them past these thought processes that we've been lied about. If you don't believe in dragons, read the Bible closely. They're mentioned many times in the Bible as seraphim, they're mentioned as dragons, and they are mentioned as Leviathan, or the behemoth, which is actually a description of a brontosaurus. The most compelling argument for that is it has a tail like a cedar. There is no animal with those descriptions besides the sauropod, I believe that's the right name for a brontosaurus or diplodocus, that has a tail like a cedar. And these creatures were so massive that they had a tail like a cedar, and they picked it up almost constantly. It swayed like a tree back and forth when they walked. They had dragged that massive tail. Flintstones was actually telling you that man lived with dinosaurs, and that we had great contraption before nowadays. I mean, I don't think they were using the dinosaurs to do work for them exactly, but you never know. We did have a whole lot better systems at one time. Tesla knew that that nothing new was invented. We just all rediscovered things that had already been discovered. I mean, and if you don't believe that, Leviticus It says that there's nothing new under the sun. That all has been done before, and everything has been done before, and it'll be done again. So we hadn't ever made nothing new. We're not just now hitting the height of technology. We're just starting to reach the brink of what they used to know in technology. And they used to do it naturally. The first lasers were probably made from either frequency beams or lenses focusing the sun into high-powered beams. But I have said that frequency and vibration is everything. If you use the right frequency all the time, you listen to music that is frequency of 432, which 432 equals 9, then it actually puts your body into a right frequency. But they have skewed our frequency because almost all the music we listen to, all the TV things we listen to, all these things that bombard our lives all the time are frequencies like 440, 444, 450. They're trying to mess us up. And then we eat so many foods that are not food. I mean, if you eat any fast food restaurant, I'm not going to say in particular because I don't want to be sued by somebody for knocking their restaurant. You know that stuff isn't real food. And it says in movies all the time that truth. Like, fast food shortens your lifespan. Adam Sandler is one of the best to say these things. Like I've mentioned before, in Levitical law, pork is a sin. Anything that's made from the pig. And you look at most of your food that you buy in pre-made food in restaurants or in stores all has some kind of pork, pepperoni, sausage, salami, whatever. I mean, it's all has that stuff. Every breakfast food almost has those ingredients in it. And I used to love bacon and stuff too. I'm just saying, you really got to consider a lot of your stuff that really tastes good is because it's not good for you. Sin has to be tempting. There's reasons that sex out of wedlock feels so good, that doing that line or drinking that beer or whatever feels so good because sin has to be tempting to you. They want to know who really loves them. Hawa says that if you love me, you follow my commandments. They have 613 commandments. It's not that much. I mean, you got 600 laws that come out every year in this country. So 613 commandments is not that much on an aspect of looking like that. But you got to learn what the commandments are and follow them. They say that Hawa loves all their children, and I agree. But they say my children are the ones that follow my commandments. There are two fathers. There is Samael, and there is Hawa. Satan, as it said in Hebrew, is not the name of a demon deity. Satan means adversary. It does not mean the name of a demon deity. Samael, Azrael, Gabriel, those are demon deities. Gargamel. I'm pretty sure I'm not getting these absolute justice, but I do know Samael is absolute. Lucifer is not a actual name of a deity because it's a Latin word. It's not a Hebrew word. Just like it's absolutely impossible for Jesus or Jesus or any of that to be the name of Christ, which just came from the word Christo, which was the Greek god of healing. Jesus actually is the Greek word for Zeus, which was the god of thunder, the king of the gods. But those are Greek words, not Hebrew words. And so he'll say, "Oh, it was actually Washua." But you think about this: the word Christ, as they say it, actually Hamashiach in Hebrew, means anointed one. Now, in Psalms 89, verse 20, it says Hawa anointed David with his holy oils. Who anointed Washua? The only one that it speaks of anointing him is the whore that came and washed his feet. Anointed him